What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Monday Fun Day, and we are in the Culture Wars. Let's go.
والسلامة والإسلام والتوفيق لما تحب وترضى
Ask the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, what type of Islam is the best? I want to know how I can be the best. This is the type of attitude we want to develop within ourselves. We want to cultivate this attitude. How can I aim even higher?
And oh my God, I can't believe they're walking over the Israeli and the American flag. Like, suck my dude. They can do whatever the they want with the American flag and the Israeli flag. I wipe my ass with the American flag. This.
Oh yeah.
As a communicator, especially as a communicator that is in the United States of America, I understand the utter moral depravity of the average American. In order to make a more convincing argument, I always try to message to the room that I'm speaking to, if that makes sense.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. That's exactly what this is. Woke 2.0 is Islamic. 100% Islamic. We are under attack, and they're coming in as a politician. They're coming in like they're siding with us, like they want the best for us. They want healthcare for everybody. They want the money to be spent here in America. We don't want to give any money to any foreign nations, even Egypt. It's all a lie. The Democrats, they've actually shown who they truly are. Now, a lot of people are saying that the Democrats, and I, even including myself, has that the Democrats have been taken over by the Islamists. But they've been supporting this agenda all of this time. The Islamists that we see today, they're all Democrats. Think about that. Think about that. All of these people that's talking about Sharia law, all of these people talking about Islam is so great, Islam is what we need to do. All of them happen to be Democrats. You can't make it up. 100% can't make it up. And that's what we're dealing with. These evil leftist Democrats have embraced Islam. And why have they embraced Islam? Because it goes 100% against President Trump. It goes against the United States of America. And ultimately, it goes against Christ. I said when this socialism talk really came to the forefront, I've been saying it from day one, that this Islamic agenda is socialism. They're calling it socialism, but it is 100% Islam. I don't know if anyone actually has been paying attention to that. And I've yet to hear the mainstream even make that connection yet. Have y'all heard that? Have y'all heard it yet? I've yet to hear the mainstream make that connection. And I'm just waiting for the mainstream to make that connection. Now, before I get into some of this stuff that I want to share with you, President Trump is live right now, and he's actually taking some questions. So I want to go to President Trump while he's taking questions right now from the press. And one of the things that he did bring up was the flock camera, what Jeremy was just talking about. So let's go to President Trump, hear what he has to say, and then I come back with some of this Islamic stuff.
Meeting, and an admiral came up to see me over the weekend. And it was at a big group, and he happened to be an admiral retired. He said, I've been on ships that are out there much longer than that, sir. And I know people on the Lincoln, they say it's beautifully maintained and beautifully taken care of. And other people went out and they found out to be true. It was fake news reporting from CNN.
Mr. President, there was a report that a senior intelligence official with the CCP just bought a historical building overlooking the White House. Have you heard about this? Do you have a reaction to that?
Mr. President.
Mr. President, yes, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Yeah, go ahead, behind you.
Okay.
The British Prime Minister recently reportedly sent text to someone impersonating Susie Wiles. Are you concerned about his judgment or the state of communications between the two countries?
No, but who happened? What happened? They sent text?
Apparently the Prime Minister sent text to somebody impersonating Susie Wiles, and it was...
No, I'm sure that he had a miscommunication.
Mr. President.
He's the Prime Minister.
Mr. President.
You know, I spoke to him. We had a good conversation, a couple of them. We had a good conversation. One of the things he is going to do, I think he's going to open up the North Sea. That'll make UK pretty rich, I'll tell you.
Mr. President.
If he opened up the North Sea, now he's got an immigration problem and he has an energy problem. He would have solved one of his problems. That would be a big thing. That would make UK rich. If you open up the North Sea, it's one of the great finds anywhere in the world. And if they would open up the North Sea, UK would be rich again.
Mr. President. Yes, Mr. President. Have the people who
Don't you find them nice? Huh? Nice people, right? Look at him. He's saying, where do people like this come from?
We're not all
Your son is saying, where do people like this come from? Go ahead.
The people who are opposing, the people who are opposing the ballroom and challenging it, have they offered any sort of solution or sort of compromise, or are they just say there should be a hole there?
The people that are opposing the ballroom are people that, in my opinion, are very disloyal to our country, very, very disloyal to our country. And I think we're doing very well. We're way ahead of schedule. We're under budget. It's going to be the most beautiful ballroom of its kind. You know, when I was in China, we went to the Great Hall of China. It was this big, beautiful building. And we don't have anything like that. And we have to have that. It's very important. But we also are getting tremendous military protection, drone protection. The building is drone-proof. It's missile-proof as much as something can be missile-proof. It's totally bulletproof. Any bullet, nothing can go through the windows. We have, all top-of-the-line stuff. It's very safe. And the one thing, it's not for me, because I'm going to be here a very short period of time. When it's finished, if it finishes right on time, on budget, on time, I'll be there for 4, 5, 6 months. This is for future presidents. This isn't for me. This is for future presidents. And it's a gift.
I want him to be there another 4 years. I'm just saying.
Spending hundreds of millions of dollars to build a ballroom. And it's a gift from great patriots of this country. As an example, I'll give you names. I released some of the names. In fact, I wanted to put them out today, but we got a little busy. And this was, frankly, being with this group of people was very important to me. But we'll be putting them out, some of the people that contributed. But this is a gift to the United States of America. No taxpayer money is necessary. And you're going to have the finest ballroom anywhere in the world. It's not something I wanted to do, but it's something that's needed. And again, I'm not going to get to use it very much, because by the time it's completed, I'll have 4 or 5 months left, 3 months, who knows. But we're ahead of schedule. It's going to be the best of it in the world, of its kind in the world. There'll be nothing like it in the world. It fits beautifully with the White House. It's gotten fantastic reviews, architectural reviews. People think it's incredible. And when you see it, you'll say, wow, that's really something. And that's what the United States is all about. We have to have that. But in addition to the ballroom, we're building a great military complex. The people that started the lawsuit, the head person, I believe, was fired. And she was fired from another event just before that. And she's the one that started. It's the National Trust, but the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Now, they say it's a United States. They use the word United States, but it's not related to the United States. In fact, the United States doesn't even contribute to it. It has nothing to do with it. It stopped contributing when they realized there were nothing but troublemakers. Years ago, it stopped contributing. So this isn't like an official United States Bureau, a United States agency. They stopped contributing to the National Trust. And it's called the National Trust. It has this great name, National Trust for Historic Preservation. They're a bunch of troublemakers that the United States, many years ago, long before me, stopped contributing to. The woman that started it was fired. She's no longer there. So this is the remnants of it. And the bottom line is they're trying to stop something, and they won't be successful, but they're trying to stop something that's almost completed. When they brought a suit, why didn't they bring the suit a year before? Why did they bring the suit in the middle of construction when $400 million almost is spent on its construction? Why wouldn't they have started the suit a year early? Everybody knew it was going to be. It was no secret. Everybody knew that it was taking place. So they should have done that. But the National Trust is very disloyal to the country because they reveal things. I said the problem with the suit, I told them this, is that we have many military things in this ballroom. And ideally, they shouldn't be revealed. But now they are revealed, so the world knows about it. That's okay. They shouldn't have done it. They're very disloyal. But I think we're doing really well. We're way ahead of schedule. And many presidents are going to use it for many years to come. The country will have one of the greatest gifts it's ever received. One more.
Last week you said that you would soon declare the Strait of Hormuz to be a territory of the United States. Could you elaborate?
Well, I just think it's a great idea. Yeah, I mean, we control it. We control it with the blockade. We have a blockade. We control it with the blockade. And I like the idea of declaring it a territory.
Why can't you do that?
We have total control over the strait. Now, they can be a nuisance. They can put a mine in the water, and people don't like having mines hit their billion-dollar ships, et cetera. But the blockade has been very effective. And, we're taking out, now maybe that will stop, or maybe it'll open up even further, but we're taking out millions of barrels of oil a week. If you look at the kind of numbers that we're doing, the strait is open. And the oil prices are coming down, and they will continue to come down unless we decide to do something far more drastic than we're doing. Iran is in big trouble. They have 300% inflation. The country is a mess, and the military is totally defeated. Thank you very much, everyone.
Are you seeking an extension to the MOU?
Thank you.
So President Trump was hitting on some of the key points that the Democrats don't want anyone to pay attention to. And the Strait of Hormuz is being controlled by the United States of America. And the Democrats, they don't like it. The Democrats want Iran to control that because they want the animosity, the chaos to happen in the world, especially going into the midterm election. A lot of people thinking that President Trump is just he's just going to wait until after the elections before he address anything was happening in Iran. If it's up to Iran, we won't have a nation. If it's up to the Democrats, we won't have a nation, especially if President Trump is there. So let's talk about this issue that we are having here in the United States of America, and that is Islam. And to be clear, let me make sure I'm clear on this. I'm not hating or discriminating against a group of people, but Islam is not like black people, right? It's not like white people. It's not Hispanic people. It is an ideology that is pure evil. So there's no discrimination there. We don't want Islam here because they want to bring Sharia law. We have the Constitution. I hope this is not confusing to people because some people still don't understand Islam. That's just a religion, right? No, now, if you want to actually talk about a cult, that would be Islam. And it's no different than the socialists here in the country. See, the socialists, if you leave their socialist Democrat Party, they will do terrible things to you. How dare you leave? How dare you want to leave? How dare you want to leave? Now, here in the state of Texas, which I don't know how they were even able to set up shop in the first place, but they set up mosque. And at the airports, they have these bathhouses where you can go into these in the airport, one in DFW and another one in Houston, to my understanding. And you can't go in there unless you're a Muslim. You heard me correctly. At the airport, a public restroom, you cannot go in there unless you are Muslim. This is unlawful. Well, Governor Abbott was asked a question about these facilities at the airport. And of course, he's saying that they're unlawful. But the question remains that if they are unlawful and they've always been unlawful, how were they able to go through the construction of building them in the first place? He had to have known about it. So I'm kind of skeptical on what Governor Abbott is actually doing. Is he only saying it because this is what we want to hear? Because they've already built these facilities in some of these locations. How are they able to do them? And then, of course, some of them are saying, well, if they're going to wash their feet on the counter and stuff, then they're just putting their toe jam on the counter and it's just making a mess everywhere. So we need to give them some place to go wash their feet. No, wait until they get home. There's certain things that I don't do at the airport. I wait until I get home. Make them wait until they get home.
Second, let's go back. To be clear, I personally argued the Ten Commandments case of a monument on the Texas Capitol grounds to the United States Supreme Court and won by making clear that the Ten Commandments were part of the legal system and traditions of the state of Texas from our beginning to who we are today. And we are just teaching components of what made Texas history what it is by the Ten Commandments, such as thou shalt not kill and other principles like that, whereas these other religious faiths, they don't have the same application over the course of the history of the state of Texas, and hence do not need to be recognized either in our schools or on the Texas Capitol ground like other religions.
Are you advocating that existing foot washing station get pulled out?
So both for any proposed or any existing facilities like that are simply unconstitutional and illegal.
See, that's my point right there. If they're unconstitutional and illegal, how did they get built in the first place? Who approved it in the first place? We're talking about at the airport. You know, the same group of people that, you know, we had to take our shoes off. Same group of people that caused the TSA line to go 2.5 hours, right? The same group of people that's willing to take over airplanes. Now they're having facilities at the airport. And when they were doing the construction on it, no one was asking, what is this we're doing here? How did they go in there in the first place? See, I have these questions. How were they able to go in there in the first place if it's unlawful? I mean, does this mean that if I want to do something that's unlawful, that goes against the Constitution, and I can go into an airport and I can just start tearing down walls and start doing something myself? I mean, if that's the case, that's what they've done here. I really want to know the answer to that. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Because and you know what? She doesn't even call him out on it.
Let me explain what I did here as well as what I've done before, and that is any Muslim-only location like this or any Muslim-only event in the state of Texas, we've shut down. You cannot have a Muslim-only washing station in an airport. You can, before that, shut down a Muslim-only event in Grand Prairie, a Muslim-only event at school districts in various regions across the state of Texas, because that is very simply illegal. One factor weighing in here with the airport, and that is there are two different parts of an airport, one of which is governed by our local cities, the other which is governed by the federal government here by Secretary Duffy. If it is before you get to the TSA check-in, that's governed by the city, and the state of Texas is going to crack down and eliminate funding for that city if they don't comply with the standard that I've articulated. Once a passenger gets inside the TSA checkpoint, that is then governed by the federal government and is subject to Secretary Duffy to make sure that they too crack down on and eliminate these washing centers because they are in violation of the United States Constitution.
Look, it's the fact that they're already there. No one didn't think about it. Someone had to complain. Someone had to make it known that these facilities were in the airport before you actually want to start doing something about it. Now, the construction for these didn't take a month. It was longer than a month. We're talking about there's like stations where you can go sit at them and wash your feet. And if you're a Christian or a Jew, you can't go in there. So what happens if, now, you know what? Now that I know that these facilities are in the airport, if I for any reason have to go through DFW, I'm going to go into that facility and I want to see it. I'm going to record it and I'm going to see if they're going to actually deny me access. Because I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do my thing. I'm not going to wash my feet. I'm going to keep my shoes on. This is despicable. It's a disgrace. And they allowed it to happen. Again, someone had to know that they were doing this in these facilities. It's straight up discrimination against everybody else. They made a location specifically for a group of people, by and large, that hate this country. Now, all of them don't, but most of them hate this country. Can we be honest about it? They're not here adopting our culture, because if they were here adopting our culture, they wouldn't have these bathhouses in the airport. Would they? No, they wouldn't. Now, if they want to have it in their mosque and they want to have it in their home, then by all means, go ahead. Go ahead. In their mosque, it's the freedom of religion. Our Constitution allows them to have it. Our Constitution says freedom of religion. So there's nothing we can really do about that. But the fact that they're trying to push Islam and they're going into locations with the airport, next is going to be at the courthouses. Oh, wait a minute, it won't be our courthouse. This is going to be a Sharia court. That's what they're aiming for. That's what they're pushing for. And this dude right now, Moran Mamdani, he is leading the charge in this. And he's so happy about it. And the Democrats are going right along with it, because the Democrats realize that Islam hates America as much as they do. So this is the reason why you see them teaming up. This is the reason why you see them doing what they're doing. And again, all of the Islamists, are they Democrats or Republicans? Y'all let me know in the chat what you think.
I think of the freedom from suffering that Buddhism teaches us is only possible if we remove the three poisons of desire, hatred, and ignorance from our daily lives. We need not accept suffering as unchangeable. We need not treat hatred as the natural state. We have the power to set ourselves free. And I consider my own faith, Islam, a religion built upon a narrative of migration. The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina. Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us, as for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world. Or as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange. So glad tidings to the strangers. If faith offers us the moral compass to stand alongside the stranger, government can provide the resources.
Oh my goodness.
Let us create a new expectation of City Hall, where power is wielded to love, to embrace, and to protect. We will.
How is that not different than what the socialists are talking about? The socialists are talking about the government providing everything that you need. The government. That is communism. That's the very reason right now and again, I've yet to hear other people in the mainstream media even make this connection. Woke 2.0 is Islamic. That's exactly what we're seeing. These people are here to conquer America. They're here to destroy. They've been trying to destroy America for the longest. And you know, part of the reason why they want to destroy the United States of America, because we stand with Israel. They figured that if we can't defeat America, we'll go in and take over America. Then that way they can remove any support to Israel, to eliminate Israel, to destroy Israel. This is their ultimate goal. And I don't know why most people still don't see this. The connection, the similarities are remarkable. They both believe, the Islam and the socialism both believe that you have to take over the government and then reshape it, reform it into what they want. They believe that the government should control everything. They believe that socialism is the answer to everybody's problems in the country. They actually believe this. They believe everybody who's worked hard should have to give up everything that they worked for the people that are too lazy to work for themselves, and just spread the wealth. How many times have you heard that? Even before the whole discussion about socialism came up, the radical left was constantly talking about spreading the wealth. They were even talking about this under Obama, spreading the wealth, because they know a lot of young people, and this is who they're influencing with all of this, the young people that are still under mommy and daddy roof in the basement. They go, well, yes, the government should take care of us. Mommy and daddy still taking care of us, and they're the age of 30. Mommy and daddy taking care of us. The government should take care of us too. And everybody that worked hard, they should have to give up everything that they have so I can live comfortably. I don't understand why people are not understanding what is actually happening here. The country, and you know what? They're not even doing it with no violence. They're taking over without any violence. And the reason why I'm highly concerned about it, because during the midterm elections, Republicans typically do not show up. Republicans, for the most part, typically only show up during presidential elections. And it's blowing my mind on why that's the case. Are we just going to hand it over to them? Because the very first agenda on the socialists, if they are successful come November, the very first agenda for them is to impeach President Trump. And I guarantee it's going to follow with the impeachment of J.D. Vance. So not only President Trump, but J.D. Vance. And what will we be able to do about it? The military is not going to do anything, because they're going to say, hey, well, that's what the people voted for. The Constitution allows for it. The Democrats are just saying they need to impeach President Trump just because they don't want him there. He hasn't done anything wrong to validate anything for impeachment. They just don't want him there because he's disrupting everything that they've been doing, everything that they want to achieve, all of the perversion, all of the sick things that they want to push. President Trump is in the way. And because President Trump is in the way, they want to impeach him. So Republicans need to show up this November, and the Democrats that don't want to have anything to do with the socialism, they're going to have to hold their nose and vote for the Republicans. They have to hold their nose and vote for the Republicans. I mean, what is your choice? Because there's only one way to get rid of socialism once it sets in. There's only one way. Not every Democrat believes in this whole socialist agenda, but there's a great deal that do, but not all of them that don't. Bill Maher being one of them, he doesn't agree with the socialism, and he's a total leftist atheist. Listen to this guy here. Listen to what he says about socialism.
You know, last weekend in Chicago, the DSA held their convention. You're not Democrats. You're a separate party. I'll see you in November.
Dude. You see that? They're not Democrats. They're a separate party. And he says, we will see you in November. That's why I'm saying a lot of these establishment Democrats are going to hold their nose and vote for the Republican, because they see it too. And as I mentioned, the DSA, the whole purpose, from what I see, the whole purpose of the DSA is to tear down the Democrat Party and get rid of all the establishment and bring it back up in a complete, total communist party. Now listen to Hakeem Jeffries as he addressed what he just said.
Do Democratic Socialists belong in the Democratic Party, Leader Jeffries?
Well, what I can say is that I do not support defunding the police. I do not support open borders. I do not support abolishing the Senate. We're focused on actually solving problems that hardworking American taxpayers want us to solve, which is to lower the high cost of living in a situation where life is far too expensive in this country. That's the Democratic agenda. That's what House Democrats are fighting to achieve.
This dude is a total idiot. The thing is, didn't they say he was next? Didn't they say he was next? And he's taking a knee to the socialists, trying to get on their good side. Oh, don't get rid of me. I'll be a good boy. I'll be a good boy. Don't get rid of me. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, they're not happy with the DSA taking over their party. They're just figureheads for the most part. Hussam Piker, Momdani, El Sayed, who hasn't even won his election. I don't even think, has he ever won an election? But they are the leaders. AOC, Bernie Sanders, they're the actual leaders of the Democrat Party because it is now full-on Islam. And Bernie Sanders, to my understanding, is Jewish. Make it make sense. I guess he's like the George Soros type, right? I guess that's the only way I could think about Bernie Sanders. He's the George Soros type. So now, I want y'all to listen to what President Trump had to say. This was a video maybe last month or so when the whole socialism really started coming up. I want y'all to listen to what President Trump had to say about the socialism. Because President Trump said, hey, if I wanted to be a socialist, he said I could be the greatest one. But he made a point about it. Listen to this when we come back.
Remember when you were younger and you used to hear stories, whether it be in Greek mythology or whatever, about the fountain of youth, people constantly looking for something out there that would help them live forever or live longer? Well, kind of got something like that with Fatty 15, and it's not mythological. No, Fatty 15, this is an empty jar right here, but that's your size that you get. That's a 1 month supply. You get a 3 month supply on this deal. Fatty 15 contains something called C15. If you don't know what that is, it's an essential fatty acid that is necessary for your body's cellular generation, meaning that if you have any damaged cells, it will repair them. It'll also change the way your cells age and you will live longer. C15 does exactly that. Again, if you don't know what C15 is, definitely do some research, but it's Fatty 15, and in each and every one of these capsules that you get in Fatty 15, you're going to elevate your cells, you are going to repair your cells, and you're going to live longer. That's what it does. It slows down your aging process for healthier hair, healthier skin, balanced metabolism, deeper sleep, and 3 times more cellular benefits than omega-3 fish oils. Fatty15.com/LFA, promo code LFA. Save 15% now. That's fatty15.com/LFA, promo code LFA. Thank you very much. Back to the program.
They want to restart the war on Christians and churches. And as you saw with the communists elected in New York City recently, they're communists, they're not social democrats. They want to completely destroy the traditional American way of life. Communism is very easy to sell. It destroys everything, but it's very easy. I'll be honest, I think I'd be the greatest communist in history. I'd give free rent. Ladies and gentlemen, from now on, you don't have to pay any rent. From now on, anybody wants a house, don't worry about it. Just pick the house you want. Everybody gets free food. Everything is free from this point forward. Everyone's going to vote for me. The problem is, after 2 or 3 years, the country is a disaster area. The country fails. They always do. It always does. So easy to sell. That first year, boy, you're the most popular. It's happening right now in New York and California. But you'll start living in squalor. You'll live in squalor. There will be no food. There will be no housing. There will be no military. There will be no law and order. There will be no nothing. There will be no nothing.
There'll be no nothing. No prisons. The only thing that we will have will be total violence, chaos, and that's exactly what the Democrats want. That's exactly what they want. And the interesting thing is, if President Trump all of a sudden said that he's supporting socialism, these socialist Democrats will be against it. That's how much they hate Trump. They would be completely against it. It's kind of the whole thing like with the pedo thing. You know, all of them, they got upset with you when you suggested that they may have been grooming. Do y'all remember that? I'm like, just the other day I was sitting there thinking, I said, wait a minute. At one point, they were, especially on Twitter at the time, if you suggested or if you brought up how they were grooming little ones, you remember? People's accounts were getting suspended, banned. And they were saying that how dare you? Because they were for the grooming. They were for it. Now they're saying that they're not for it. So President Trump got them all not to be for it. Do y'all understand what I'm telling you? Because before they were all for the whole pedo thing. They had no issues with it. And then when they was like, oh, wait a minute, we can put this on President Trump. Oh, so now they're not for it? Actually, they are. They just know that we're not for it. So they keep calling President Trump that, trying to think that we're going to be convinced to stop supporting President Trump because now he's supporting something that they all support themselves. It's bizarre. These people don't have any capacity of thinking on their own. They just believe all this nonsense that they put out there. They even believe that capitalism is bad. Capitalism is the wrong, has all of the bad elements that has contributed to humanity here in the United States of America. Capitalism. And they believe socialism will come in and fix it all. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Capitalism is at the root of pretty much all of our social ills and has some way that it plays a lot into all the oppressions that we face. So for me, I don't see issues of sexuality or race or gender as separate from issues of economic justice. Capitalism has done a really good job of dividing us and has done a really good job of objectifying our bodies and just basically stealing from generation after generation of people who aren't at the top. So socialism really affects every type of political activity that I'm in. There's no separation for me between all of these things.
How is socialism? I'm sorry. How is communism preventing her from living her life? Capitalism means that you can work hard and you'll be rewarded for your hard work. You can work hard and start a business and hire people. You can make an income, not just for yourself, but you can start a business to make an income for others. That's how you hire people. Capitalism has nothing to do with your life decisions. This is how stupid these people are. And so they fix their minds that, oh, capitalism is just wrong all the way around. Because of capitalism, that bike is sitting behind her. A company built the bike. A capitalist company built that bike. The building that she's in, because of capitalism. So if she's so upset with capitalism, why does she own a bike? If she's so upset with capitalism, why is she even in an apartment or a home, wherever it is wherever she's located? And the hat, the clothes on her back. Why own any of it? Remember, you own nothing to be happy. Let me show you what else this crazy woman had to say. I mean, and she's completely off her rocker. Listen to this.
Queer, some people use the word queer to mean an umbrella term that encompasses all kinds of sexual identities outside of the straight norm. Others use the term queer to express an intentionally political sexual identity. That is an identity that purposefully goes against the norms of who we're supposed to desire and what our sexuality is supposed to look like. So for me, the term queer is both expressive of who I am and also expressive of my politics and the world I want to live in. Being Muslim and queer, the way I cope with being Muslim and queer is by building queer Muslim spaces and engaging them.
in Muslim spaces. I really want to know how that's going to work out. I encourage her to go set up shop right there in the middle of the Gaza Strip. And make sure you have one of those 24-hour live cameras. Never turn it off. Set up shop right there in the middle of the Gaza Strip with your movement there. I want to see how that works out. See, we're dealing with people that they're not dealing with a full deck. This is what we're dealing with. And I don't know if you have noticed this or not, but the Islamists here in the United States of America, they actually push this agenda. The whole queer and all that stuff, they actually push it. You know why? Because they're multiplying, and it's encouragement for the people in America, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, black people, anyone who considers themselves an American, not to multiply. And it's not even just Americans. Unless you convert to being Islamic, then you should not be able to multiply. And they're multiplying like rabbits. I mean, it's huge how they're multiplying. You know, Elon Musk brought up before how the people in America, specifically white people, are not producing children like they should be. And then they tried to say that he was racist for saying so. And he's 100% correct. They're not producing children. One of the biggest things that I've realized now that I'm at the age that I'm at is that I wish, had I known, had someone would have told me, I would start trying to have a family at the age of 22. I would try to have my first baby at the age of 22. Between 20 and 22. And they go, but Will Johnson, you're still young. You still need to try to get a career. See, I think the problem, and this is just me, and y'all can tell me if you think I'm wrong. By all means, it's okay. I think family next to God is the most important thing. This is me. I think family is extremely important. I believe that God put us here to reproduce. God put us here. That's why it takes a man and a woman to reproduce for us to have children. And while we're going through the education, while we're going through the struggles as a young family, we go through it together as a young family. Me personally, we should be teaching our youth, get married. Get married, have the family, and do the career, seek the education at the same time. Why are we not doing that? We should build people up to be strong enough to take on that challenge. And the main reason, because I'm being selfish here, for those of you that don't know, I'm going to be, in 10 years from now, I will be 65. And I don't have any grandbabies. I don't have any grandbabies, and I'm going to be 65. So if I were to just say have a grandbaby today, if I were to have one today, 10 years from now, that grandbaby would be 10 years old. You understand what I'm saying? See, the older I get, the more I'm thinking, like, my goodness, what have we done to our society? We're not having children the way I believe God intended for us to have children. That's just me. I know I'm going off on my little rant here, but I think someone watching right now can completely relate. And for those of you that have grandbabies, you're like, well, you don't know what you're missing. And I don't. And you understand how important that is. But in the Muslim community, they have been producing like rabbits. And of course, they all push, like, look at Mamdani. Mamdani went to one of these alternative lifestyle events in New York, and he was like in there clapping. Yes, y'all keep going down this path. You keep doing it. You keep going. You keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop. because they can't reproduce. They can't reproduce. It'll never happen. And they know it won't happen. And the idiot liberals, they keep going right along with it, thinking that it's okay. We'll be right back.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, My Pillow mattresses and My Pillow mattress toppers as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
In your address to the Justice Department staff this week, you said you and DOJ will, quote, uphold the law without fear or favor. You, of course, used to be President Trump's former personal defense attorney. Can you pledge that the Justice Department will always act independently of the White House?
Well, there's a big difference between saying we will always do our job and investigate any case and act independently of the White House. No, I'm not going to pledge that. And no attorney general should ever pledge that. The president, I mean, if I were to pledge I will be independent of the White House, what that means is that if President Trump says, I want the Department of Justice to go after every violent criminal in this country, which is what he has said, what you're saying to me is I should say, no, sir, not going to do it. So,
and that's what they want. They want him to say no to President Trump from apprehending the illegals that have come into the United States of America. That's what they want. They don't want someone who's going to listen to the executive branch, listen to the president. They're essentially saying that, well, President Trump is in a position, but he's not actually the president. He can't give any orders of anything. He's just there. We get to tell him what he can and can't do. And that's what she's wanting. And that's what the left is wanting. The ICE agents in the United States of America are apprehending people who have broken the law. They have broken the law. They're not randomly picking people up, but according to them, they want it stopped. Why? Because it doesn't help them going into November.
I will act with integrity. Our prosecutors will act with integrity. We will prosecute without fear or any sort of favor. And that's exactly what we've been doing. And that's what every Department of Justice should do.
Well, I guess big picture, if the president asks you to do something that you feel crosses an ethical or legal line, would you do it?
The president will never ask me to do something unethical or legal or illegal. He never has. He never will. And no, I swore to the Constitution of the United States, like every cabinet secretary has done, and like every attorney general before me has done. And so this narrative that's mostly pushed by the left and pushed by the media, that the president's going to pull me aside and ask me to do something illegal, is completely a false narrative, not true, will not happen, and hasn't happened.
Okay,
You remember when the idiot Democrats was saying President Trump was giving unlawful orders to the military and you don't have to listen to him? And then they go, well, no, we're saying that if he were to give unlawful orders, you don't have to take an unlawful order. Well, President Trump has never given an unlawful order. They were still saying that President Trump should not be able to give any orders to anybody, and they need someone to defy President Trump. That's what they're doing here. That's their ultimate goal. Find anyone who's working with President Trump who would defy him from making America great, from working with the American people, making things better. That's what they want. They don't want someone who's going to actually make things better for the American people, because they need to go into the midterm election where everything is just terrible so they can try to convince you and I well, you know, President Trump, he didn't do anything for us. He didn't make our lives better. So, you know, I think our only option is to go with the Democrat. No. You know what? There's actually some people right now that's talking about going with the Democrats. They used to call themselves Republicans. They used to. They don't call themselves Republicans any longer. They don't. They're upset because President Trump didn't do something that they wanted. President Trump is doing what we expected him to do, and they don't like it. And a lot of it has to do with Israel. And which I don't understand that. These same people say nothing about the Islamists trying to take over the United States of America, but they complain about Israel. Make that make sense. Do you understand that one? Let me say that again. They don't say anything about the Islamists and their agenda, their objective, what they're doing in the United States of America, but they complain about Israel, which is an actual ally to the United States of America. Now, look, I'm not saying everybody in Israel are angels and are peachy. I'm not saying that at all. It's the same thing with America. Not everybody in America are angels and peachy. We got socialist Democrats here. But they just have this whole thing about Israel. Like Israel is the problem in their lives. And they don't have nothing to do with Israel. But Israel is the problem in their lives. What is that? You know what it is? The Bible tells us in the last days that the world will come down on Israel. And that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. And Satan has convinced them that Israel needs to be destroyed. And the reason why Satan believes or has convinced these people that Israel needs to be destroyed because Jesus returns and he sets his foot on the Mount of Olives, which is in Israel. He's trying to stop prophecy from taking place. That's what he's doing. Because there's a lot of other places in the country that they can really focus on, but they focus on Israel. To get back in the United States of America, black people and other Democrats, as I mentioned to you before, they're holding their, I'm telling you, November, they're going to hold their nose and they're going to vote Republican because they can't go along with the socialist Democrats. Listen to this.
The Democratic Party, from its peak with John F. Kennedy as president, a man of intelligence and courage, to where it is now, it's really terrible. I would love to hear a potential Democrat say something like, "Yes, I think that we definitely should have voter identification proof of citizenship." If a person went against the party in a significant, meaningful way like that, that would be a person worth voting for. But unfortunately, apparently it's not going to happen.
Okay. Ronald there from Long Island.
You know what that says? Majority of the people in the country want the SAVE Act. Majority of the people want the SAVE Act. We all have IDs already. We know how to get IDs. Majority of the people in this country wants the SAVE Act. And there's only one reason why the Democrats don't want to pass the SAVE Act. And even the Rhinocrats, which I don't understand, Thune. President Trump should do something about Thune. I don't understand it. Thune keeps saying, there's actually this video where Thune started attacking Caroline Leavitt. And he says, why don't she go get the votes? Tell her to go make the phone calls and get the votes. It's not her job to get the votes. It's his job. Majority of the people in this country have IDs if they're American citizens. Now, I've yet to see one American citizen say, you know what, they object to voter ID, except for the establishment and the socialists. You know, Kamala Harris. One of the things that stuck out to me, and I'll never forget it, that every single place that Kamala Harris pulled through, there's no voter ID. None of them. Every single place. We can say she won that 100%. No voter ID, she won. How does that, I mean, are we supposed to not pay attention to that? They don't want us to pay attention to it, of course. But every single place that took place where no voter ID, Kamala Harris won. It's 100%. But the Democrats, really quick before we get out of here, the Democrats, they're looking at these poll numbers, and everyone's talking about these poll numbers. I want to share with you this latest poll numbers that they're talking about. And the Democrats, essentially, they've been taken over by the socialist Islamic Party. It's Islamic, okay? Let's just keep it real.
So our new CBS News poll out this morning finds 58% of Democrats have a positive view of socialism, and just 32% have a positive view of capitalism.
So, 58%. These are Democrats. This is not independents. It's most definitely not Republicans. These are just Democrats. How they feel about socialism. 58%, this is saying that more than half of the Democrat Party has gone the way of socialism. So don't you think you should get on board? Because the rest of the party is going that way of socialism. And it might be even higher now. It might be 62%. Might even be 68%. Might be 28% or 24%. Positive for capitalism.
What do you make of that?
What I make of it is that people are struggling. They're struggling because the cost of groceries is too high. The cost of gas is too high. It's too hard to see a doctor, and when you do, the cost of that is too high as well. They're not asking for a lot. Now, they just want to go to work, make a good living, be able to raise their kids, buy a home before they're 40, take their family on the same vacation they went on as kids. And right now, they're seeing a system that doesn't work for them. Now, I believe...
And they act like this was created by President Trump, the system that doesn't work for people. This is another thing that I don't understand, how people are not able to recognize this. It's like they've completely forgot what the Democrats and Joe Biden did to this country the 4 years before President Trump went in. And just because President Trump walks in the White House doesn't mean everything miraculously is just grand. He has to fix what they screwed up. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. And they know this, but they never bring that up. They never talk about it with anybody. They never talk about it on these talk shows. They never report on it, saying, well, the reason why it's like this is because of X, Y, Z. They never do that because of what happened before. If you're in a vehicle and the tires wear out, or let me say gas, right? And you never stop at the gas station to fix the problem, to put gas in the vehicle, you're actually going to end up running out. The Democrats are saying, nope, don't put gas in it. Don't put gas in it. And President Trump saying, we got to put gas in it to fix this problem. The Democrats don't want any gas in there because they want you to be stuck. And then they said, we'll come here and save you. It's ridiculous. All right, everybody, that's it for me. Coming up next, right here on LFA TV, is Kevin Smith, Loud Majority. So make sure you go over to rumble.com/LFA TV to see all of LFA TV. Monday through Friday, I'm right here, 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock East Coast time. You can see me, Culture Wars, right here. Kevin Smith is coming up next. So give it a minute here, because I know last week he was having some technical issues, but we're going to work it out. Look like he might be having some issues again, so I'm going to wait here. There was something else I want to share with you. I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to do it in time. Because there's so much. I mean, I could have spent another hour just showing all this information to you. Okay, let me share this one with you while we're waiting for Kevin to come on. This is what Hussein Piker. Hussein Piker, he is, again, like I mentioned to you earlier, he's the front face of the Socialist Democrat Party. And they're welcoming him in with open arms, like, come on in. And you've heard all of the hateful things that he said about America, right? Right? You've heard all of it, right?
Streamer calling on leaders in his party to defend him and accept his place in their coalition as GOP criticism of his rhetoric becomes a key issue in the midterms. And that rhetoric is becoming a bit of a liability for Democrats. Listen.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would Rick Scott.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers. Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their red capitalist blood.
Didn't he go to war and literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave soldier, his eye hole with their? Isn't that how he lost his dumb eye? America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
America deserved 9/11, dude. That's what Hussein Piker said. Fox News contributor Liz Peek joins me now. I just don't know how the party welcomes someone who's made such statements into the fold, and even worse, elevates him to a position of prominence, Liz.
Because they can't help themselves, Kevin. Democrats really need young male voters,
because
right?
That's the help themselves. And that's exactly what it comes down to. The Democrat Party, they need male voters. So we'll take what we can get. And if Hussein Piker's the male voter, then we'll just take it. We'll just take it. It's ridiculous. Okay, I see Kevin's coming up now. Hey, everybody. Hey, if you haven't already, please bless us by hitting the thumbs up. Share the live feed. God bless you all, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow right here in the Culture Wars. Let's go.